So here we have it. This is Jeffrey Epstein. This was in 2019. This was his mugshot. I want you to see what this article is about. I think this is very important, and this may shed some light as to why we're dealing with some of the things we are dealing with currently. This is out of the People. Jeffrey Epstein's own brother claims a new autopsy report in February will prove that his brother, the infamous Jeffrey Epstein, sex offender, was not a suicide in his death, but in fact he was murdered. More and more I believe he was murdered. This is by Mark Epstein. It was said July of 2025. This article, it's a 3-minute read. It was put out January the 9th of 2026 this year by Sharna Flam. So I always felt like there might be something nefarious that was behind this whole incident, and that he in fact did not commit suicide, that he was murdered, and it was to protect identities of people who might have been involved in his situation when he got in trouble. And that's how I feel. So let's get into this. So to my left is Mark Epstein, and to my right is Jeffrey Epstein. You see them pictured here. They were brothers. So Mark Epstein, he himself, he says he needs to know. He continues to make claims that his brother Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. So Mark said Friday, January 9th, that more autopsy facts will be released this coming weeks and prove his allegations. So Jeffrey died, they claim, of allegedly suicide by hanging in a cell in the Metropolitan Correctional Center, August of 2019. Mark Epstein continues to claim that the evidence that will prove his brother Jeffrey Epstein was in fact murdered. So Jeffrey, a convicted sex trafficker, died of suicide, as allegedly they claim, by hanging August the 10th, 2019 in his cell in a Metropolitan Correctional Center. This was in New York, as he awaited his trial on numerous sex trafficking charges. So Mark was the one to identify his body. So as the speculation goes about the circumstances of Jeffrey's death, it began that Mark hired a former NYC Chief Medical Examiner, Dr. Michael Baden, who said the evidence points to a homicide rather than a suicide. So years later, in June of 2023, the FBI and the Department of Justice said there was no credible evidence of foul play in his death, according to the DOJ report. Despite these findings, Mark has continued to voice his skepticism of the official findings, telling NBC News in July of 2025, more and more I believe that he was murdered, and everyone who looks at all the information that is out there on facts comes to the same conclusion, Mark added. Mark reiterated his belief in the appearance on News Nation Now on Friday, January the 9th, alleging again that Jeffrey was murdered and that more autopsy facts will be coming out in February to prove this. So it goes on to say he told the outlet that when he saw Jeffrey's body, the injuries did not correspond with the way his body was found hanging. So this is the still frame of Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein himself to the right. So Mark continued that there are only 3 ways to die in prison, before adding suicide, natural cause, and murder. And Jeff was murdered. I want to know who killed him and on whose behalf. Mark also said that he believes that the previous investigations and subsequent findings are a cover-up. Why the charade, he asked. Who are they trying to protect? That is the question. Meanwhile, Mark rejects Jeffrey's longtime confidant, Ghislaine Maxwell, August the 2025 comments that she didn't see the murder of Jeffrey happening. although she acknowledged that it is, of course, possible. But I don't know of any reason why, and I don't believe in the blackmail or in any of this. I don't think Epstein had a hit on like that, she continued. If it is indeed murder, I believe it was an internal situation. So in Friday's interview with the News Nation, Mark said that he would not trust Maxwell, what she says, adding that she's never saw the body or talked to Jeffrey before he died. So this is a still photo of his mugshot. Once again, this was in 2019 when this photo was taken of Jeffrey Epstein. So before Mark spoke with News Nation on January the 9th, he claimed that November 18th phone interview with the outlet that an unnamed source told him that names of conservative politicians were being axed from the Epstein files to prevent Republicans from getting incriminated. So days later, on November the 20th, he claimed that CNN Aaron Burnett out front that President Donald Trump purposefully delayed the release of these Epstein files. So Mark also alleged that his brother had information on Trump when he was running for his first term in office in 2016, claiming that it was incriminating enough to cancel the election. So he didn't tell me what he knew, Mark told the outlet, but Jeffrey definitely had dirt on Trump. So if you or someone you know has been a victim of sexual abuse, text strength to the crisis text line, and the line is down here, 741-741, to be connected to a certified crisis counselor. So that is pretty much the article. And so it's what I've been saying, y'all. I've always felt in my heart, in my deepest of heart, that Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the infamous Jeffrey Epstein, sex trafficker, and who was found convicted on his charges, I feel he did not commit suicide. I feel that he was murdered to cover up for others who were involved in the same thing that he was involved in, is pedophilia and getting involved with underage people. I don't want to go too deep into it because it's disturbing, but his brother is also claiming that he feels deepest in his mind and heart that it was a cover-up, and that it is also not being told to the public the truth of the death of his brother, and he wants to know who are they hiding this information and for why. Why would they be doing this? So just take a look and think in your mind of what is going on right now today. What is happening in our world today, and what is happening. And you be the judge of that.